Hey there, TikTakers! Today we're here to commemorate a queen who has marked history and who sadly passed away on September 8th. We're talking about Elizabeth II, Queen of the United Kingdom. On April 21, 1926, Elizabeth Alexandra Mary, later known as Elizabeth II, was born in London in honor of her mother, Elizabeth, Duchess of York. Although in private, the family called her Lilibet. Her only sister was Princess Margaret, born 4 years after her. Elizabeth was third in line to the throne, behind her uncle Edward, Prince of Wales, and her father. No one expected her to be queen, considering that the Prince of Wales was young and everyone assumed that he would marry and have children. In 1936, Elizabeth's grandfather, George V, died, and his uncle succeeded him. However, that same year, King Edward abdicated after a crisis caused by his marriage proposal to a divorced American. Following this abdication, Elizabeth's father became king, and she became the legal heir with the title of Her Royal Highness Princess Elizabeth. During World War II, she entered the Women's Auxiliary Territorial Service as a second lieutenant, becoming the first member of the royal family to enlist in the armed forces full-time. At just 13 years old, she fell in love with Prince Philip of Greece and Denmark, and they began to communicate by letters. In 1947, they were married in Westminster Abbey. Before the marriage, Philip renounced his Greek and Danish titles and was designated Duke of Edinburgh. However, the marriage was controversial because the young man had run out of financial potential, came from abroad, and also had sisters who had married German noblemen related to the Nazis. For many, Philip wasn't good enough for her. Even so, the couple stayed together and had 4 children: Charles, Anne, Andrew, and Edward. In 1951, the health of her father, King George VI, took a turn for the worse. He was diagnosed with lung cancer, and Elizabeth soon replaced him in almost all public acts. In 1952, while she and her husband were on tour, they received news of the king's death. It was then that she was declared queen and chose to use the name Elizabeth II. The Queen was the head of state of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland and the Commonwealth of Nations, and was also the main figure of the Church in England. Many of you will wonder, why was there only a queen if she was married? Well, in the United Kingdom, just as the woman obtains the title of queen consort when she marries a king, otherwise the man can only aspire, at most, to the title of prince. Only men who are direct descendants of the British royal family can be considered kings. Therefore, her son George would be the legitimate heir to this title. Elizabeth rarely gave interviews and didn't publicly express her opinions. She had a deep sense of religious and civil duty and took her coronation very seriously. As curiosities, she was president of more than 600 charitable, cultural, and other organizations. Her main hobbies were horseback riding and dogs. And her wardrobe consisted of solid colored coats and decorative hats, which enabled her to be easily seen in a crowd. The Queen was loved by her people. However, in the 1980s, public criticism of the royal family reduced her popularity, especially due to the personal and professional lives of her children. The discontent reached its peak with the death of Diana, the former partner at the time of her son George. Although her popularity rose again by publicly broadcasting a live message appreciating the memory of Lady Di. During the pandemic, she was confined to Windsor Castle for a long time as a precaution. She cancelled several public commitments and the castle followed a strict sanitary protocol. In April 2021, a hard moment would come for her, the death of her husband. However, she went ahead and continued with her royal commitments. She had some health problems in the following months. She even tested positive for COVID in February 2022. However, again, the Queen managed to recover, and although not all of them, she tried to continue with her official acts. She had no intention of abdicating. She would be queen until the day she died. Leaving aside small interventions or pain, the Queen enjoyed good health throughout her life. something important to having lived 96 years and staying so active. She became an example of leadership for other rulers and a source of pride for her family. On September 8, 2022, Buckingham Palace announced that the Queen was under medical supervision and that her health was of concern. The 4 children traveled to be with her, and around 6:30 p.m., the royal house announced her death. We would need hours in this drought alive to be able to recount the entire life of the longest living queen in history, turning 70 years on the throne last June. A life full of important milestones for the crown and for women, such as the first women-only events held inside Buckingham Palace. Without a doubt, the British will always remember her, since for many of them, she was like a mother. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, and if you want to see more Draw My Life videos, subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode!